Eurobox is proud to present We May Never Say Goodbye, a recently published novel written by Asil Thwyte. In this new episode of Conoscere TV, we're excited to welcome the author as our special guest to deepen her literary work. Hi, Asil, and it's great to have you here. Thank you for accepting our invitation.
Hi, Ginevra. Thank you. Thank you for having me on.
Let's start by introducing the book, please. What is We May Never Say Goodbye about?
The Archbishop of Canterbury in the late 90s is feeling like his congregation is dispersing and that people aren't being drawn to the church anymore. And his PA gives him some advice to hire a PR company. So it's quite satirical. The PR company have worked for some rather dubious mining company, and from there the plot evolves.
You said it as satirical, and that's correct, but we know that beyond and behind the story, there is a particular message that you want to transmit and communicate to your reader. What is the reflection that you want to generate, or the thoughts you want to generate in your readers?
I've been particularly concerned that big business, when they're outsourcing, don't think about local communities. The effect of that has been more profit-driven than human or culturally driven. It's always concerned me about what happens to small villages, what happens to people in the pursuit of profits. So that's a big theme behind the book.
Okay, and what are your literary models, if you have some? I mean, when and why did the idea for this book came up?
The idea came up over a couple of years, but I sat down and wrote it during COVID. The literary model is I like a big story. I like a bit of a saga. So it's multi-charactered, multifaceted. I think the driving emphasis, while I'm talking about all these global pursuits and companies and profit and religion and PR, public relations, essentially at the core of everything is what happens to characters and their relationships and how they evolve, and whether we grow as characters or whether we devolve. And so basically it's just a great yarn, I think.
And who's the perfect reader for this book? I mean, when you were writing, you had the profile of a reader in your mind, or is it a reading for anyone?
I think it spans all generations. Obviously, it's not a children's book, but I do think young people are particularly concerned with the environment. The environmental disaster that happens in the book is very disturbing. I think at the moment we're in crisis with climate change and global denialists. So I think young people will respond to that. I think older people will respond to memories about the church being this incredibly powerful institution and then not so much. I think that people will remember days when spin wasn't the be-all and end-all, that we just went about our jobs and did them without perspectives being layered on top to influence us. So I think anyone could pick this book up and read it, to be honest.
Totally agree with you. I think it is an accessible reading for anyone. But what would you like to tell your readers now that you have the chance to?
I'd like to tell my readers that although there's some brutal characters in this story, although there's some horrible things that are happening in big business, there's also some real beauty in the story as well. There's some beautiful moments. There's some poignant things that happen amongst the characters. I think it's just a reflection of life. Things aren't always good. You can be brutalized, but whether you can survive, whether you can grow, whether you can evolve, they're the things that I think give us hope as readers. I do try and tie everything together at the end. And I guess when I came up with the title, we may never say goodbye to the effects of globalization, but we might also never say goodbye to each other. We may never say goodbye to one another. So, and that has a profound effect on people. I mean, death is part of our lives, but it's how we come to terms with it. So, yeah, so they're the things I'm talking about. So I do think it has a wide readership. I don't think everybody's going to love it. I think some of the brutal aspects of the book might challenge some readers, but I would encourage them to keep on reading because it gets better. Yeah.
Thank you, Asil. Thank you for the important message that you transmit through your book and to make it so accessible for anyone, really. Thank you for your time today, and we wish you best luck with your book.
Thanks, Ginevra. It's been great talking to you. Thank you.
We May Never Say Goodbye, written by Asil Thwyte, is now available in bookstores and digital platform. It's a publication by Eurobooks.